Well, now in other news, Germany says that it is ready to station around 4,000 additional troops in Lithuania on a permanent basis to strengthen NATO's eastern border. That's on top of the 1,000 German troops already on the ground there. German Defense Minister Pistorius announced the increased deployment on a trip to Vilnius. The offer comes after Lithuania's president called for a stronger NATO presence in his country. The military alliance's next summit is set to be held in the Lithuanian capital in 2 weeks. Let's bring in DW Brussels Bureau Chief Alexander von Namen, who's joining us now from Lithuania. So tell us a little bit more about this planned troop deployment, Alexander. How far can it go to address the Lithuanian president's call for a stronger flank close to Belarus?
Well, I think that the fact that the German defense minister announced this decision to permanently deploy 4,000 German soldiers to Lithuania is very telling. The fact that it happened today, that he announced that on his way to Lithuania, because of course we have to understand that Lithuania had been asking for that for quite a while now, and all what they got as a response from the German government was, well, we can do that, but only on a rotational basis. So now to say that they are ready to permanently deploy a brigade to Lithuania is a strong signal, and it's certainly a response to the recent events in Russia, and it's also meant to address Lithuania's concerns. And we just have to consider that the country on the eastern flank of NATO has an army that consists of 20,000 soldiers, including conscripts. So to have 4,000 soldiers more, it's really big deal for Lithuania. Some German soldiers, as you mentioned, are already here, and they participate in joint exercises with their Lithuanian counterparts on a regular basis, and actually had a chance to observe such an exercise yesterday. Let's have a look.
Training to fight side by side. If Russia attacks, these German soldiers and their Lithuanian comrades will have to work together to repel the assault. That's why they are practicing here on the Pabrada training ground, facing a number of challenges.
You have different standards regarding tactics that you have to bring together and harmonize, basically, that when I give my orders, everyone knows what I'm talking about and what I want. And that is something we have to keep working on.
This is a great opportunity for us to train together with German forces, our comrades. And of course, this is the main goal for this exercise, is to show our readiness and ensure it that we are capable to act against any threat.
The exercise started with the temporary deployment of soldiers and heavy equipment from Germany's 41st Mechanized Infantry Brigade. They are the reinforcements NATO promised Lithuania after the beginning of Russia's war on Ukraine.
This training ground is just about 20 kilometers from the border with Belarus, a key Russian ally that served as a launchpad for Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Only days ago, the Kremlin said it had started to position tactical nuclear weapons there. In this context, the recent developments in Russia have certainly affirmed Lithuania's sense of being extremely vulnerable in the face of an unstable and aggressive neighbor.
The permanent deployment of the German brigade has been a constant source of friction between the two countries. But soldiers and commanders here in Pabrada say they are not interested in talking politics.
As the commander of Mechanized Infantry Brigade 4-1, I concentrate on my own brigade tasks, and I would comment on those. But I also have to make it very clear that since 2017, we have deployed battle groups along NATO's eastern flank. We have enhanced our interoperability. And I think we have already at that time shown our dedication.
And talking to officers such as platoon leader Captain Moritz, you realize they know the stakes are high here.
There's no difference in defending Lithuania from defending Germany when it comes to me or my men. This is NATO territory, and we're always ready to come back if needed so.
This training exercise is one of many drills taking place in Europe. But it's a crucial one to help NATO forces improve their ability to respond to any contingency at very short notice.
And Alexandra, given what we saw out of Russia in the past days, this failed mutiny, what are the implications now for NATO defensive strategies, particularly on the eastern flank, countries like Lithuania?
Well, I think that this is going to be a key issue here. We expect NATO Secretary General to join the Lithuanian president and the German defense minister here. And of course, we also know that NATO right now is working on new defense plans for the alliance. It is the first time that they are going to update their defense plans since the Cold War. So now, of course, they will need to consider the situation in Russia, the fact that we might be dealing with a more unstable regime there, and they will certainly talk about what further needs to be done to boost the defenses for all the NATO members on the eastern flank.
Alexandra, is there any discussion about the potential repercussions of Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin's exile in Belarus?
Well, it's certainly a source of concern for Lithuania that shares a border with Belarus. And I talked to many officials here, and all of them are saying, well, we know that, anything can happen anytime. They don't regard Putin a rational leader. They also know that, you can expect anything from Prigozhin. So that is why Lithuania is calling on NATO to further beef up its presence here. However, they are trying, to stay calm, and we heard from NATO Secretary General saying, NATO Secretary General saying that what is happening in Russia is an internal Russian affair, but we also know that NATO, as well as all allies, are monitoring the situation in Russia and also the situation in Belarus. And we know that the Kremlin announced just days ago that they had started to position tactical nuclear weapons there. So the situation is serious, and all of that is probably also going to be discussed here in Lithuania.
DW Brussels Bureau Chief Alexander von Namen, thank you.